Trunyan Village in Bali. Here's all you need to know about the mysterious Skull Island and its chilling funeral traditions. When we think of Bali, a palm tree paradise springs to mind. But Trunyan Village, aka Skull Island, shows a very different side to the island and its mystical traditions. Do you remember the scene in Peter Jackson's 2005 King Kong movie, when Naomi Watts, Jack Black, and Adrien Brody first arrived on the shores of Skull Island? Well, if you do and you're planning to visit Bali, then get ready for a very similar experience at Trunyan Village. As you may know, Bali is famous for its exotic beaches, arak-infused nightlife, and in the last decade, spiritual journeys in Ubud, all thanks to Julia Roberts. However, there's one particular village and its interesting traditions that might not sound so familiar. We're talking about Trunyan. Trunyan is best known in Bali for its bizarre yet chilling funeral tradition. Similar to Skull Island in King Kong, when you visit this village you'll find real skulls and human remains on the streets. These bodies lie untouched on the ground without any funeral or cremation, which is the usual Balinese Hindu tradition. Now, if your first thought is to get the heck out of the village and to never come back, then this sort of tourist attraction might not be for you. But if you're interested in a unique and unusual adventure, then a visit to Trunyan Village might be right up your alley. The legend and history of Trunyan Village. The story of the famous Trunyan Village begins hundreds of years ago on the island of Java. The king of Solo from the kingdom of Surakarta, now a city in Java, had 4 children, 1 daughter and 3 sons. One day, the princess and the princes smelt an overwhelmingly beautiful scent. It was so hypnotic that they decided to find the source of this scent. It led them to Bali. However, only the eldest prince arrived at the source of the scent, which was coming from a tree in the center of a village near Bali's Lake Bachur. This village is now called Trunyan. The funeral tradition in Trunyan Village. For most Balinese Hindus, cremations or burials are the common way to honor the dead. However, in Trunyan Village, the funeral tradition is slightly different, to say the least. The dead are not buried or cremated as is generally the case in other areas of Bali, but rather, the villagers of Trunyan place their loved ones' bodies on the ground, cover them with cloth, and arrange bamboo around them to form a prism, called Ansak Sanji. This tradition is called Mepasa. During Mepasa, the bodies are purified with rainwater, and later, the bodies are placed on the ground, and wrapped in white cloth, except for the face. Although the bodies remain above ground, they surprisingly do not smell. The corpses are placed between the tree of terunyan, which means fragrant tree. Presumably, the aroma that comes from the tree neutralizes any unwanted smells. At any one time, there can only be a maximum of 11 bodies placed beneath the terunyan tree. When there are new bodies, then the body that has been there the longest is moved into an open area, not covered by Ansak Saji, but put together with other bodies under rocks or under a tree. Although the Mepasa tradition belongs uniquely to the Trunyan people, not all Trunyan bodies are treated this way. Mepasa can only be carried out for people who are, at the time of death, married, or young children without milk teeth. Furthermore, the deaths must have occurred due to natural causes and must have all body parts intact without injuries. If these criteria are not met, the body will be buried in the normal way. As such, there are 3 types of sima, cemetery, in Trunyan, distinguished by the age of the person, completeness of their body parts, and the way in which they are buried. The first burial area is called Sima Waya, which is considered to be the most sacred and is reserved for those who are buried in the Mepasa way. The second is Sima Muda, the cemetery for children or infants who still have their milk teeth. The third is Sima Bantas, which is intended for people who have died of unnatural causes, such as accidents, and for those who have lost their lives with incomplete body parts. How to get to Trunyan Village. If you're still interested in visiting Trunyan Village despite its eerie traditions, here's how you get there. Trunyan is located on the eastern shore of Lake Bachur, a caldera lake in central Bali. To get to Trunyan, first you need to head inland to Kintamani, approximately a 2-hour drive from the main tourist hubs of Canggu or Seminayak. Once in Kintamani, you'll then need to take a boat from the local dock in the village of Songan, which is on Lake Batur's more accessible western side. Top tip: visit Trunyan with a tour guide rather than simply booking a return boat trip, as this way you'll gain insight into the history and culture, instead of simply transport alone.